Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. Um, I wanted to talk today about the mistake I made as a wife. There is a clip from the Den of Kings, that's Kirk Franklin's podcast. And in this particular clip, he's talking with Tyrese, and Tyrese, I'm sorry, is talking about what he desires in a wife and what he needs. And he talks about how when he is in a position where he has, he's waking up in the morning and everything is, they're about to lose everything. He needs to have a wife who can love and support him and who can speak, the right words of encouragement to him, to and cover him in prayer to assure him that the that everything is going to be okay. And when I heard that from him, it immediately came to my mind the mistake that I made in my marriage. And that mistake was looking at my ex-husband's vulnerability as weakness and labeling him as weak because in a moment of crisis, he didn't have the answers. In a moment of crisis, he didn't know how to, or he wasn't sure really of what the next move was. And so, in that, what I did was I would speak to him in ways that were disparaging. I would attempt to push him forward into things that he wasn't really ready to do because while my anxiety was telling us that we needed to move, he was being reserved because he was considering the outcome. And I think sometimes when you reduce your partner or you reduce your husband and you reduce his his emotional state in a time of crisis to him wanting you to act like God, or you want him wanting you to act like his mother, you have basically diminished who he is simply because his weakness or his immobility in a time of crisis or a tough time is causing you to have to come up a little bit, right? It's causing you to now have to maybe be stronger in a circumstance where you think you're not strong enough either, right? And so here's what I learned about that. I learned that just because someone is vulnerable or they're not sure in a moment, it doesn't mean that they're weak, and it doesn't even mean that they're asking you to be what you cannot be to them. So in the comments, women were saying, "Oh, he just wants somebody to be his mama," or well, you need to be for her what you're asking her to be for you. Well, that's not necessarily true because all he was really saying is that in this particular moment, I need someone who can support me and who can love me and who can, pray for me when I just don't have the answer. That's really all he's saying. I don't have the answer in this moment. And I just need you to be there for me until I get the answer. Because here's the thing. And, even for those who, are Christians or whatever, just because you know that God will never leave you nor forsake you, and just because you know that He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or think, and just because you know that you don't have to be anxious for anything, right? Right, but by prayer and supplication and with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will rule your heart and your mind. Just because you know those things does not mean that while you are waiting on God to do those things, that you're weak or that you have no faith or that you're unable to lead. It doesn't mean that at all. And so when Tyrese is talking about a man who's in that position, who is feeling that way, really what He's looking for you to be able to hold him up while he continues to hold on to what he knows God is able to do. And that's really what that is. And so the mistake I made was that I did not, or I'm going to say I dismissed the fact that what he was doing was attempting to hold on to what he knew, and he just needed my support to keep holding on, right? He didn't need me to talk about, oh, you want me to be your mama. He didn't need me to say, well, you should have enough faith to be able to do this and you should go to God. Who says he wasn't going to God? See, sometimes in our position as wives, sometimes we become arrogant. Sometimes we think we know it all. And so what we do is we say things that now emasculate. We say things that demean who our husband is in the moment because we think we know everything. And we don't know everything. And in that moment when he is in that space, it's not for you to tell him who you think he needs you to be and, going back and forth about all of that. In that moment, you should be praying. This is the spiritual leader of your house. He is in a moment of crisis. He's in a moment where he does not understand. And he knows what the word says. He knows that you're not his God. He's not asking you to be his God. He is asking you to be his wife. He is asking you to help him in this moment of vulnerability. Because believe it or not, most men don't want to appear weak to their wives. They don't want to appear weak to that significant other. They want to assure you that it's going to be okay. But in a moment when he cannot assure you, when a moment where he can't find the words, when in the moment where he doesn't really know what the next step is, that is not the opportunity for you to now beat him down with your words and to, make him feel like he should know everything. Because remember, in our anxiety sometimes, in our waiting for God to do something, it's not that we don't know that he won't do it. We're trying to hold on to the fact that he will. We're trying to hold on until he does. And so when I found myself in that position with my husband, what I didn't know and what I didn't do was I didn't help him hold on. I didn't. And what did that look like? That looked like me attempting to do things and go ahead of him when I shouldn't have. It looked like me saying things to him that I shouldn't have. It looked like me being angry or almost sometimes being resentful because I thought, well, you're the head of the house. You should know something. Didn't God tell you something yet? No. What I needed to do was to keep my mouth closed. What I needed to do sometimes was simply to pray. What I needed to do sometimes was to simply ask him, what can I do? That's what I needed to do. So now for context, I was married. I was with my ex-husband for 24 years and we were married for 22. And that was one of the mistakes that I made. I didn't learn to just simply give him a moment to process what was happening. I didn't give him the opportunity to think it through. I didn't give him the opportunity to be frustrated. I didn't give him the opportunity to feel angry. I didn't give him the opportunity to feel certain things that he needed to feel because at the end of the day, he's still a human. He's still going to have these feelings. He's still going to have these emotions that he's going to tussle with. And in those moments is when he needs God, yes. But he also needs the person who God sent to be with him to support him. And he doesn't need you in a way where, it's a struggle for you to encourage him. It's a tussle for you, when he's asking you for certain things and he's asking for you to be with him in a certain way. It just shouldn't be like that. And I will say, and I can take accountability for the marriage failing because I did not know what to do sometimes with my mouth. I labeled his weakness, or his vulnerability, I should say, as weakness. And it wasn't. It wasn't. So, what am I saying? What I am saying is that when it is time for you to give support, when it is time for you to uplift him, don't look at him as if he doesn't know what to do. Don't look at him as if, why you're not doing nothing yet. You should inquire, what do you need me to do? What can I pray about? What 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 is it? Where do you think we should go? What do we need to do? What is it? And sometimes don't ask anything. Sometimes it's just pray. Sometimes it's just pray. This is the person that you made a vow to become one with. He's not your enemy. He's not your competitor. He's not those things. He is the person who you said you're going to become one with. He's the person who you said, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. And when the worst comes, don't be don't be the worst, right?